Hey everybody, welcome to another count support video. This one's on solving proportions. Let's see how we can do on this. So proportion is just the basically two equivalent ratios. That's all a proportion is. So when you have a proportional relationship, it's just one in which the ratio stays the same, that the relationship is always constant. So in this case, the first problem that we're given is 3/5, and we're asking to solve the proportion if 3/5 is equal to some value q that we don't know over 10. So solve for q. So in other words, 3 out of 5 is the same as what number out of 10? Now this is an easy one because you guys can see that 5 times 2 would be 10. So then just multiply the top by 2, right? The rule for creating equivalent ratios is whatever you do to the top, you do to the bottom. So if you're trying to find the equivalent ratio to 3/5 when it's something out of 10, you just ask yourself, okay, do I see a relationship between the bottoms here, 5 and 10? Yes. What is that multiplication relationship? I can double 5 and get 10. So then I must be able to double the 3 and get the q, because in order to create an equivalent ratio, I have to multiply by a value of 1, which of course is 2 over 2, right? So as long as you times top and bottom by the same amount, you're not changing the value, you're just rewriting the ratio. So anyways, ultimately speaking, I think we can all see this is a nice easy one, and that's q equals 6. Okay, so this is going to be 3/5 is the same as 6/10, so q is 6. The next one might be a little harder. Let's see. So this one is number 2, and it is 4 over z is equal to 12 over 5. Once again, another pretty easy one. Why is it easy? Because when I look at the relationship across the top, I see 4 and 12 are compatible. I know that 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So in this case, I want to go from the 12 to the 4, because I want to go from the 5 to the unknown variable. So with the direction you're going matters. We're going to do 12 divided by 3 is 4. So if we divide the top by 3, we better divide the bottom by 3. 5 divided by 3 is going to be z. So that means that z is equal to 5 divided by 3. That's it, 5/3. You could think of that as 1 and 2/3 if you'd like, but it's really just 5/3. So you can put it in as an answer that's just 5/3, and you get the right answer. Okay. Next up, number 3 here. It says 4 over 3 equals t over 7. So this is the first one that's a little more interesting. So let's jump in there and see why it's more interesting. So for number 3 here, we have 4/3 is equivalent to some value t over 7. So what would make these two ratios equivalent? Well, I don't see a relationship between 3 and 7. That's why this is a little more interesting. Like what would I multiply 3 by to get 7? Now, you might be really smart and figure out that I can multiply 3 by, I want to cancel out the 3 and I want to end up with 7. So I can multiply by 7/3, right? So some of you guys are going to be that smart to figure that out, right? That if you multiply by 7/3, you're going to get 7, because 3 times 7/3 is 21/3, which is 7, right? You might figure that out. And then you can multiply top and bottom by 7/3. That's one way to do this problem. And you get the answer is that t is equivalent to 4 times 7/3, which is, of course, 28 over 3. And how many times does 3 go into 28? 3 goes into 28 9 times with 1 left over, so 9 1/3. You could do it that way. Alternatively, if you didn't see that relationship, you could do what's called the cross product, okay? And I think most of you are going to do this. Whenever you have an equivalent ratio situation, a proportion, you're going to be able to use the cross product to find unknown values. And the cross product simply says the bottom of the first times the top of the second is equivalent to the top of the first times the bottom of the second. That's what it says. So when we write that out, what would it do? It generates an equation. What would the equation be? That 3t is equal to 4 times 7, or 28. Well, what is this going to result in? Well, how do I undo times by 3? We divide by 3 both sides. So therefore, we can see that t, in fact, would be 28/3, which is, of course, what we said, 9 1/3. So that all stays the same, right? We can see that it's the same. So you can solve it with the pink method or with the yellow method. The pink method is called the cross product. Bottom times the opposite top equals top times the opposite bottom. And it's always going to work whenever you have a proportional relationship. So this is 9 space 1/3. And there's your answer. Okay, for the next one, we're going to investigate this relationship. It says for number 4, 4 over r is equal to 5 over 7. Okay, 4 over r is equal to 5 over 7. Do you see a relationship between 4 and 5 that you can exploit? Something you multiply 4 by to get 5? Probably not. And if you don't see that relationship, that's fine. Then you can always do the cross product. Remember, the cross product is bottom times the opposite top equals top times the opposite bottom. So there we're going to write it out. You get r times 5, or 5r, is equal to 4 times 7, which is 28. So 5r equals 28. Divide both sides by 5 to get a value of 1r. And you're going to get 28 fifths. 28 fifths is how many times does 5 go into 28? 5 goes into 28 5 times, which is going to be 25. And there's going to be 3 left over. So you can think of it as 5 and 3 fifths, or 5 and 6 tenths, so 5.6. All of those would be correct. So here we're going to write it in. 5 space 3 slash 5. And there's your answer. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do k over 4 equals 3 over 8. This is one of those nice and easy ones because there's a relationship on bottom that's very obvious. So for number 5, you've got k over 4 is equal to 3 over 8. I think we can all see that 4 times 2 is going to be 8. So k times 2 would be 3. But because we're going to go from the 3 to the k, we're going to ask ourselves, what would I divide 8 by to get 4? Divide it by 2. So in other words, 4 is half of 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Keep that consistent. 3 divided by 2 must be k. But what is half of 3? So the answer would just be that k is equal to 3 divided by 2, which is the same as 1 and 1/2. So the answer for this one is just 1 and 1/2. And you're done. All right, let's do the next one. This one is, scroll down. Oh, let me see if I can fix that. All the way down. Awesome. Okay, next one's number 6, I guess, already. So let's do number 6. It is 4 over 3 is equivalent to 11 over k. There's no relationship that I see between 4 and 11 that's easy to see. So because they're not really compatible, I recommend doing the cross product. So 3 times 11 is equal to 4 times k. That's it. So write it out and solve the equation. So 3 times 11, which is 33, is equal to 4 times k. How do you undo times by 4? Divide by 4 both sides. And you get 1k must be equal to 33 fourths. How many times does 4 go into 33? 4 times 9 would be 36. So 4 times 8 would be closest, to be 32. So you're going to say 8 and 1/4, because 32 is 1 less than 33. So there's this 1 extra left over on top. So it's going to be 8 and 1/4, or 8.25. We're going to put in 8 space 1 slash 4. And there's your answer. And last but not least, we have this problem, which is 11/8, and we're setting that equal to k over 4. You guys can see there's a relationship that's easy to see, 8 and 4. So going from the 11 to the k, we want to go from the 8 to the 4. What would I do to 8 to get 4? Multiply or divide? Divide by what? 2. So 11 divided by 2 must be k. So now we know that k must be equal to 11 divided by 2, which is 5 and 1/2. So the answer here is simply 5 and 1/2, and that's how you do it. Okay. So if you can see a relationship, use it. If you can't see a relationship, cross product. Okay, let's stop.